Diabolus in Musica. Orchestral works. Here follows a list of compositions beyond those mentioned above that are certain to stimulate. This is by no means exhaustive, but is intended as a beginner's guide for commencing the journey into this vast world of extraordinary sounds. I sometimes note particular conductors or recordings I consider to be outstanding. HECTOR, BERLIOZ, Symphonie Fantastique. A great iconoclastic symphonic depiction of an opium-induced fantasy, ending with the dream of a witch's Sabbath. John Eliot Gardner and Colin Davis handle this best. Also worthwhile are his The Damnation of Faust and Sinfonie Funebre et Triomphale. Johannes Brahms. Symphony No. 1 was the first substantial successor to Beethoven's symphonies. It is muscular and thoroughly well developed, with nobility and heroism in its expression. Listen to the other three as well. Herbert von Karajan and Bruno Walter do these great justice. Benjamin Britten, Sinfonia de Requiem, 4C interludes from Peter Grimes' Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. A 20th century British composer who knew how to be dramatic and lyrical. Start with these and then try one of his operas, like the chilling psychological ghost tale, The Turn of the Screw. Aaron Copland, great American composer of tuneful ballets Billy the Kid, Rodeo, Appalachian Spring, and a powerful Symphony No. 3, which incorporates his rhetorical fanfare for the common man. Paul Dukas, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Disney's Fantasia added Mickey Mouse, but this doesn't need animation to present a perfect orchestral fable about meddling with forces beyond your control. Antonin Dvorak. His 6th through 9th symphonies are full-blooded works, influenced by Brahms and brimming with Czech elements. His tone poem, The Noonday Witch, and his 2 sets of Slavonic dances are quite rewarding. EDVARD Grieg. Peer Gynt Suite. Written for a play featuring a journey into the Mountain King's Hall, deep beneath the earth. You'll know that episode when you hear it. Gustav Holst, The Planets, is an evocative journey that has influenced countless film scores. Perhaps the best piece to begin your journey into orchestral music. Alan HOVHANESS. Symphony No. 50, Mount St. Helens, has an explosive eruption section. Symphony No. 22, City of Light, is solemn and majestic. Aram Khachaturian. Symphony No. 2 has melodies imbued with Armenian folk music. Notable are its bold beginning and the potent climax of the funereal slow movement. It finishes with a vigorous dash, recalling themes from earlier in the piece. Franz Liszt. One of the great innovators, a Faust Symphony, Dante's Symphony, the Mephisto Waltz, and Totentanz are must-hear pieces for the Satanists. Also worthy are his symphonic poems Les Preludes and Ohnenschlatt, and the 2 piano concerti. There's a wonderful recording by Alfred Brendel of the Piano Sonata in B minor, along with Funerales. He is thought to have been the greatest keyboard virtuoso, and he lived a rock star lifestyle, with women, fame, wealth, and legions of fans. A de facto Satanist. Felix Mendelssohn. His music for Shakespeare's A Midnight Summer Night's Dream is full of nocturnal shimmering and contains the famed Wedding March. His 4th Symphony, the Italian, is energetic and tuneful with a furious tarantella finale. His overture, the Hebrides, Fingal's Cave, is an excellent tone painting. Finally, his romantic oratorio, The First Walpurgis Night, is based on Goethe's text describing druidic rituals in the Harz Mountains in resistance to early Christians. Olivier Messiaen. This mystical French composer created the brutally ritualistic Et Expecto Resurrectionem Mortuorum, as well as the more sensuous Turangalila Symphony. Modest Mussorgsky. Pictures at an exhibition in the Ravel orchestration and Night on Bald Mountain in Stokowski's version as seen in Disney's Fantasia are Satanic classics. These both rank with HOLST The Planets as perfect introductory works to bombastic orchestral music. Carl Nielsen. His Symphony No. 5 depicts struggle against stasis leading finally to victory. The Symphony 4, called The Inextinguishable, embodies the exuberance and inexorability of life. Carl Orff. Carmina Burana for chorus soloists and orchestra is rowdy and carnal and was used well in Borman's film Excalibur. You'll recall it when you hear the opening O Fortuna section. Francis Poulenc. Concerto for organ, timpani, and strings. Often sounds as if it could have been a score for a horror film. I have fond memories of listening to this on the road while Dr. LeVay drove his black Jaguar. Sergei Prokofiev. The Symphony 5 is very Russian in sound, ultimately triumphant, but sarcastic as well. The Symphony No. 3 is very dark, dissonant, and powerful. The Romeo and Juliet ballet is full of deep passion and violence. Try the suite compiled by Michael Tilson Thomas. The Alexander Nevsky cantata is based on his film score. In particular, the galloping Battle on the Ice movement is a real roof raiser. Sergei Rachmaninoff. Symphony No. 1 was thought diabolical during its first performance, after which it was temporarily lost, though there are many lyrical interludes. The second and third symphonies are darkly expressive. His Isle of the Dead is a shadowy, surging tone poem inspired by the eponymous painting. His symphonic dances, Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini, and the piano concerti are all superb. Maurice Ravel. Brilliantly orchestrated, La Valse captures European decadence through a disintegrating waltz, and Bolero is a long processional of ever-rising passion. Ottorino Respighi. The fountains of Rome, the pines of Rome, and Roman festivals are colorful, exciting pieces, very much like film scores. Paul Tortelier conducts the Philharmonia Orchestra on the Chandos label in a spectacular recording. Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. Known for smoothing out Mussorgsky's pieces, he was one of the pioneers of orchestration, and his own works are based on fantastic exotic tales. Worthy compositions are the Russian Easter Festival Overture, Capriccio Espagnol, Golden Cockerel Suite, and Scheherazade. Camille Saint-Saëns. His tone poem Danse Macabre, depicting death as a seductive violinist, has been oft-quoted by other composers. And Dr. LeVay did his own wonderful version on his synthesizers. His third symphony, the Organ Symphony, is splendidly dramatic. Franz Schubert. He followed Beethoven with works generated by melody, and his art songs are among the most expressive. The Symphonies 8 and 9 are potent constructs, and you'll note that the first movement of the 8th famous as the Unfinished Symphony, has been used in film scores from the 1930s onward, such as Ulmer's The Black Cat. Alexander Scriabin, a passionate and mystical composer whose interests span Nietzsche and Blavatsky. The Poem of Ecstasy, Prometheus, Poem of Fire, and his Piano Sonata No. 9, Black Mass, are sure to delight. Jean Sibelius. His second symphony is stark with a finale full of grandeur, where his tone poems deal with Scandinavian mythology. Tapiola being particularly foreboding, the rest of his 7 symphonies are landmark works worthy of hearing. J.P. Sousa. His marches are peerless, and any collection of them will make you perk up. Instantly recognizable are the Stars and Stripes Forever, as well as the Liberty Bell, which was used as theme music for Monty Python's Flying Circus. Johann Strauss, the Waltz King, wrote unforgettable life-affirming pieces, such as The Blue Danube, Tales from the Vienna Woods, and The Bat. Igor Stravinsky. He caused a riot with his pagan ballet score, The Rites of Spring, in which a virgin is danced to death. Fantasy ballet The Firebird with the infernal dance of King Kasha and circus-themed Petrushka are colorful, powerful, and enduring. The suites from both of these ballets will do nicely. Bedřich Smetana. My Country is a series of 6 symphonic poems describing Czech legends and landscapes. It includes the Moldau, depicting a river, and it truly gives one the sense of the ebb and flow of the water and the sight passes. Pyotr Tchaikovsky, known for his ballets and symphonies. His unforgettable melodies and brooding compositions will be known as long as music is played. Of immediate interest, Symphonies No. 4, 5, and 6, the Nutcracker and Swan Lake Ballets, the Romeo and Juliet Overture Fantasy, and the always thrilling 1812 Overture, with parts for actual canons written into the score. Ralph Vaughan Williams. His bracing Symphony No. 4 is structured as a dissonant anti-Beethoven's Fifth. The Symphony No. 7, The Antarctic, is based on his film score for Scott of the Antarctic, and it uses very pictorial means to evoke the vast power of nature in that frozen wasteland, including wordless choirs and pipe organ. His Symphony 6 begins in agony, has a pounding slow movement, a cynical scherzo with braying saxophones, and then finishes with what seems to be a quiet portrait of desolation. Keys Backel's recordings on the Naxos label are excellent. Richard Wagner. He transformed opera into what he called a Gesamtkunstwerk, meaning total theater. Here all elements of the production, from the music to the sets, costumes, and lighting design, must be controlled for maximum dramatic impact. He made orchestral excerpts from these large-scale music dramas to help popularize them, and recordings of these, as well as the overtures, make a splendid introduction to his masterful music. Gerard Schwartz has recorded excellent compilations. Lorin Maazel's The Ring Without Words is a potent symphonic synthesis of highlights from all 4 operas in the Ring cycle. Nietzsche idolized Wagner and considered him the embodiment of Dionysianism, though he later became disillusioned. Film scores. Here I list some favorite scores by each composer. If you enjoy these works, there are many more scores from most, so keep on listening. Elmer Bernstein. The Ten Commandments, Robot Monster, The Great Escape, Animal House, The Black Cauldron. Wendy Carlos. The Clockwork Orange, Tron, The Shining. Her albums of electronic music. Beauty and the Beast, Tales of Heaven and Hell, Digital Moonscapes, as well as the Switch On Bach series, should not be missed. John Coriano, Altered States, his Symphony No. 1 of Rage and Remembrance, mourning the deaths of many of his friends from AIDS. It's a powerful work with one of the most frightening scherzos ever written. Cliff Idleman, Star Trek VI. Danny Elfman, Batman, Darkman, Nightbreed, Sleepy Hollow, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Mars Attacks, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Elliot Goldenthal, Alien 3, Titus, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, Cobb, Interview with the Vampire. Jerry Goldsmith, The Omen Trilogy, Patton, Star Trek 1 and 5, Alien, The Blue Max, Planet of the Apes. Bernard Herrmann, Psycho, Citizen Kane, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Vertigo, my favorite film composer. James Horner, Aliens, Brainstorm, Crawl, Glory, The Rocketeer, Star Trek 2 and 3. Akira Ifukube, Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster, King Kong Escapes. Most of Toho Studios' classic monster films were graced with his scores. Wojciech Kilar, Bram Stoker's Dracula, his Symphony No. 3, September Symphony, in honor of the victims of 9/11, is a powerful work. Erich Wolfgang von Korngold, The Sea Wolf, The Private Lives of Elizabeth and Essex, The Seahawk, King's Row. His own symphony is also superb post-Mollerian work utilizing themes from some of his film scores. Basil Polidorus, Conan the Barbarian, Starship Troopers, RoboCop, The Hunt for Red October. Leonard Rosenman, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, The Car, Star Trek 6. Miklos Rosa, El Cid, Ben-Hur, King of Kings. David Shire, A Return to Oz. Howard Shore, The Fly, Ed Wood, The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Alan Silvestri, Predator 1 and 2, The Abyss, Van Helsing. Dmitry Tiomkin, The Fall of the Roman Empire, The Guns of Navarone, Land of the Pharaohs. Franz Waxman, The Bride of Frankenstein, Sunset Boulevard, Taras Bulba. John Williams, Dracula, The Fury, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1941. Star Wars 1 through 6, Superman. Christopher Young, Hellraiser 1 and 2, The Fly 2. Diabolus Musica.